Arsenal back in training with full focus ahead of Man City Community Shield. Gunners, the focus has already shifted to the next big challenge. After beating Como 1907 with Bruno Guimarães making his Arsenal debut, Mikel Arteta and his players are now back in training and preparing for a huge Community Shield clash against Manchester City. There is plenty to discuss around the squad too, from Bruno's first appearance to Jurrien Timber's return to training, the situation surrounding Miles Lewis-Skelly, and Arsenal's reported interest in Victor Osimhen. Before continue, if you're new here, make sure you subscribe to this channel so you never miss any Arsenal updates on this channel until the next. So let's get into it. Arsenal are back in training. The players are back on the training pitch with one clear objective: prepare for Manchester City. The Community Shield may be a traditional curtain raiser, but Arsenal will want to use it as a statement. Facing Manchester City is never an easy challenge. It is a match that can test Arsenal's fitness, mentality, tactical discipline, and ability to handle pressure. And after the victory over Como, Arteta now has another opportunity to prepare his squad. The players need to recover, they need to train, they need to understand their roles, and they need to be ready for a completely different level of competition. Bruno Guimarães has made his debut. One of the biggest talking points from the Como match was Bruno Guimarães. The Brazilian midfielder finally made his first appearance for Arsenal. After completing his move and joining training with his new teammates, Bruno has now taken that next step by playing his first minutes. For Arsenal supporters, this is an exciting moment. A new signing is one thing. Seeing him actually wear the Arsenal shirt on the pitch is something completely different. Now the real adaptation begins. Bruno has to understand Arteta's system. He has to develop chemistry with his teammates. He has to understand the movements around him, and he has to build his match fitness. The Community Shield could therefore provide another important opportunity for him. Bruno versus Manchester City? That is one of the questions Arsenal fans will be asking. Will Arteta give Bruno another appearance against Manchester City? Will he start? Will he come off the bench? Or will the manager continue managing his minutes carefully? We simply have to wait for the official team news. One thing is clear though, Bruno is now officially part of the Arsenal squad, and supporters are excited to see what he can bring. Arsenal beat Como, now City. The victory over Como gave Arsenal another positive result during their preparations. But Manchester City will provide a completely different test. Arsenal will need to be sharper. They will need to defend better. They will need to control the midfield. And they will need to take their chances. This is exactly why the Community Shield is useful. It gives Arteta an opportunity to see how his squad performs against elite opposition before the competitive season really gets underway. The countdown to City has begun. Every training session now matters. There is less time to experiment. Players are fighting for starting positions. New signings are trying to settle. Young players are trying to impress. And the coaching staff are making final decisions. For Arsenal, the Community Shield is another chance to show how much progress they have made. And against Manchester City, there will be nowhere to hide. Timber returns to training, but is still injured. There is also an important update concerning Jurrien Timber. Timber has returned to training and is available to work with the group, but that does not mean he is fully fit for competitive action. The defender is still recovering. So Arsenal supporters should not assume that seeing Timber in training means he will immediately play against Manchester City. His recovery needs to be managed carefully. Arteta and the medical staff will want to make sure he is ready before giving him significant competitive minutes. For now, the fact that he is back on the training pitch is encouraging, but patience is still required. Timber's return could be a big boost. When fully fit, Timber gives Arteta another extremely useful option. He can play at right back, he can operate centrally, he can help Arsenal build from the back, and his technical ability gives the team tactical flexibility. That versatility could become very important during a long season. But Arsenal cannot afford to rush him. The priority should be getting Timber fully fit and keeping him available for the long term. Miles Lewis-Skelly, a very interesting situation. Now we come to one of the biggest stories surrounding Arsenal. Miles Lewis-Skelly reportedly wants to stay at Arsenal. The 19-year-old has no desire to leave his boyhood club. That is a very important part of this story. However, according to the report you've shared, Arsenal's financial situation could potentially open the door to a shock departure if a major offer arrives. Let's make one thing clear. Arsenal are not actively trying to sell Lewis-Skelly. The club reportedly want to keep him, but interest from Chelsea and Manchester United means his situation is attracting attention. And because Lewis-Skelly is an academy graduate, any transfer would have a significant financial impact on Arsenal's accounts. That is where this story becomes complicated. Lewis-Skelly wants Arsenal. From the player's perspective, the message is reportedly very clear. He wants to stay, he wants to continue his development, and he wants to prove himself under Mikel Arteta. That makes sense. Lewis-Skelly has already experienced some incredible moments at Arsenal. He has come through Hale End. He has established himself around the first team. He has won the Premier League, and he has started a Champions League final. For a 19-year-old, that is already an extraordinary journey. Why would he want to throw that away? But the financial side matters. This is where Arsenal have a difficult decision to make if a huge offer arrives. Lewis-Skelly is an academy graduate. That means a large transfer fee could be recorded as significant profit in accounting terms. So while Arsenal may have no intention of selling him, a massive offer could potentially force the club to consider the situation. But considering an offer is not the same as accepting one. And there is currently no indication that Arsenal have decided to sell him. For now, the player wants to stay. The club are not actively pushing him out, and the focus remains on his development. Chelsea and Manchester United interest. Interest from two major Premier League clubs naturally makes the story more interesting. Chelsea and Manchester United have reportedly shown interest in Lewis-Skelly, but the player's reported position remains important. He does not want to leave, he wants to continue his Arsenal career, and he wants to fight for his place. That mentality is exactly what Arsenal supporters will want to see. The arrival of Bruno Guimarães means there is more competition in midfield, but competition does not automatically mean Lewis-Skelly has to leave. In fact, it could push him to another level. Lewis-Skelly has a big season ahead. The next step for Lewis-Skelly is simple. Keep improving, keep working, and take advantage of every opportunity Arteta gives him. His versatility is a major advantage. He can play in midfield, he can play at left-back, and that gives Arsenal more tactical options. Over a long season, that can be extremely valuable. Injuries will happen, players will need rest, fixtures will pile up, and different opponents will require different tactical solutions. A player like Lewis-Skelly can help Arteta manage those situations. Arsenal also want Victor Osimhen. And now we move to another major transfer story. Arsenal are reportedly interested in Victor Osimhen. The Nigerian striker is one of the most recognisable forwards in European football, and his name has been linked with major clubs whenever the transfer window becomes active. For Arsenal, a striker of Osimhen's profile would obviously be a huge addition. He brings physical strength, he has pace, he attacks the penalty area aggressively, and he has a reputation for scoring goals. But again, Arsenal supporters need to separate interest from an actual transfer. If Arsenal are monitoring Osimhen or considering him as an option, that does not mean an agreement has been reached. A transfer would still require negotiations, an agreement with the player's club, personal terms, and all the other necessary steps. So for now, this is a situation to watch. Imagine Osimhen at the Emirates. It is easy to understand why Arsenal fans would get excited about this possibility. Imagine Arsenal having another powerful striker capable of stretching defences. Imagine the pace, imagine the physical battles, imagine the goals. But before getting carried away, we have to wait for concrete developments. Transfer windows are full of rumours. Some become serious negotiations, some disappear, some never go beyond initial interest. So the smart approach is to keep watching. Arteta has some big decisions to make. Look at Arsenal's squad right now. Bruno Guimarães has arrived. Timber is working his way back. Lewis-Skelly wants to stay, and there is reported interest in Osimhen. Arteta therefore has plenty to think about. How does he balance experience with youth? How does he manage injuries? How does he give new signings enough minutes? How does he keep everyone motivated? And which positions still need strengthening? These are difficult decisions, but they are also signs of a squad that has serious ambitions. Manchester City will be the next big test. The Community Shield is now the main focus. Manchester City will provide Arsenal with an early opportunity to test themselves against one of the strongest teams in English football. The match could tell us a lot. How ready is Bruno? How strong is Arsenal's midfield? Who will Arteta trust defensively? Will the young players get opportunities? And what system will Arsenal use? These questions will begin to get answers on the pitch. The big Arsenal update. So Gunners, here's everything you need to know. Arsenal are back in training with full focus ahead of the Community Shield against Manchester City. Arsenal recently defeated Como 1907. Bruno Guimarães made his Arsenal debut after joining the club. Bruno is now beginning to build his understanding with his new teammates. Jurrien Timber has returned to training but is still recovering from his injury. Timber should not be considered fully fit simply because he has returned to the training pitch. Lewis-Skelly reportedly wants to stay at Arsenal. He reportedly has no desire to leave his boyhood club. Arsenal are not actively trying to sell the 19-year-old. Chelsea and Manchester United are reportedly interested. A major offer could potentially make Arsenal consider their position because Lewis-Skelly is an academy graduate. Lewis-Skelly has already experienced major success with Arsenal despite his young age. Arsenal are also reportedly interested in Victor Osimhen. However, any Osimhen move remains a situation to monitor and should not be described as a completed transfer. And that's the latest Arsenal update, Gunners. Arsenal are back in training and fully focused on Manchester City in the Community Shield. Bruno Guimarães has made his debut, Timber is working his way back, and the Lewis-Skelly situation is one to watch closely. And what about Victor Osimhen? Could Arsenal really make a move for the striker? Now, I want to hear from you. Should Arsenal keep Lewis-Skelly at all costs? Should Bruno start against Man City? And would you like to see Osimhen at Arsenal? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to like, subscribe to Arsenal Updates, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss the latest Arsenal news, transfers, training updates, and breaking stories. Thanks for watching, Gunners. Stay tuned to Arsenal Updates for more. And as always, come on you Gunners, this is Arsenal Updates. See you in the next one.